This is the Sony ICF-2010 from, I don't know, the 80s or 90s. The instruction book I downloaded off the internet says 1984, and it has your standard FM stations, AM, which is not what we consider AM, although it does include the medium wave AM band we're used to, and everything else is like shortwave. You have wide, narrow, sync, upper sideband, lower sideband, or Morse code. You have this little knob here, which you can use to manually tune your stations in or adjust the clock. Down here we have shortwave. You can have a slow turn of the knob so it doesn't go very fast, or you can have fast, or you can lock it, because shortwave's very, very picky about exactly what frequency you're on. You can do your battery check. You can set the clock with this and that. Enter is for storing 32 stations. You find the station you want, you press enter, and you press one of those 32 buttons, and it'll be stored in there. Here's your direct tuning buttons to go directly to a channel, your volume knob. Shift, this is for the second functions. So if you want to do the short wave, you have various bands here. I think 11 in meters, and also megahertz, and these also have a function down here. Shift this, you can now be in the 120 meters band, and you can scan it. 90 meters, 75 meters, 60 meters, 49 meters, 41 meters, what's that? 31 meters, 29 meters, 21 meters, 19 meters, 16 meters, 13 meters, and 11 meters. You want to scan FM, shift FM. The air for airports, shift air. Scan 1 and scan 2. When you're scanning on scan 1, it'll stop at the station it picks up. Scan 2, it'll only stay on that station for about 1.5 seconds before it goes to the next one. You can change your decimal from 9 megahertz to 10 megahertz, from 9 kilohertz to 10 kilohertz, depending on if you're like in Europe or the United States. And you can set your clock to 12 hours or 24 hours. Up here you have your clock display. I'm not sure how this is coming out here. And also will display certain things, like you can have a sleep timer here for up to 60 minutes. And you can do 4 preset for programmable timers for them to come on and go off. You program something in programmable timer 1, then you set how many minutes you want, like 15, 30, 60, and then it'll go off at that time, after that time is released. And here's what you'll see there is programmable timer and the minutes. We'll look at this when we turn the radio on. And here will be your frequency display, and it'll show if you're in wide, narrow, sync, USB, upper sideband, or lower sideband. Your main switch, power on, off, or if you're on timer. And you have a light, and the light on this one is just totally useless. Even in the dark, it doesn't really show up well. This has a place for a strap, but I picked this up the other day and it didn't come with one. And on the left side here, we have a main power switch, on or off. If you forget and have this off and you go and try and run your radio, you're going to be frustrated because it's not going to work. A spot for a DC brick to go into, the earphone jack, or out to a tape recorder. You can have your AM attenuation distance or local, and you can put external antennas in here for your AM band or your FM or air band. Around the back, we have the little time zone map of the world, and various FCC IDs, and here's the information there about the radio. You can see that. And in here you have your battery compartment. I think it uses 3 D cells for the radio. But under here there's a place for, I think it's 2 AA's, which store the clock and, as they call it, the computer information. Over here is a little thing you could put your little piece of paper in here with your frequencies and things, so that you can always refer to this. It'll always be with the radio. Here's a little stand if you want to keep the radio like that. And you'll notice there's a Sony here. Speakers behind here. And we have our telescoping antenna, which telescopes really high. Alright, main power's on. Put the power switch to on. I'm going to raise the antenna here. Display is kind of weak here. What do we got here? Alright, let me go to, I don't know what a preset for D1 is. I preset all these, but I don't remember what they are. That was that one.
So, you see the laws there. The Third World War.
Lots of preacher stuff.
The powers of the heavens shaken, set on fire.
You'll notice it says here what the preset is. This is D7. That should be the atomic clock, but it's not coming in tonight. Oh, there it is. Just a little. And you can do scans. For instance, if I want to scan the 49 meter band or whatever it is. And if I'm on scan 1, it'll stop at the first station it gets. If I was on scan 2, it would only do this for 1.5 seconds. And then it would move on to the next station it could pick up. Let's keep going. Every once in a while you hear a little voice. If I wanted to stop and then use manual tuning and go back, I could probably find it.
Don't know what that is, don't worry. Just right now, just call in and tell me what city you're calling from. So as the calls come to me, I can say, these are the people.
So that's the 41 meter band. And you heard a little voice there.
Se desarrollaron con frecuencia en el marco del programa con la participación proactiva de lectores.
The little chart here gives you the megahertz along with the meters. And that's one problem I've always had with shortwave, is understanding the relationship between the megahertz and the band and meters. I like this because you can see both of them. And the AM goes from 116 to 136 megahertz, FM 76 to 108 megahertz, and AM 150 to 29999 kilohertz. Did I call that the AM? That's the air band, airports. 116 to 136 megahertz. So air band and FM in megahertz, and AM in kilohertz. And this does include what we call AM, or the medium wave band. Also, let's see, I have a programmable timer 1 in there. You can see the radio would be set to come on at 2 p.m. for 15 minutes, and it's going to play station C4. Now, I could also set 3 more timers, and they'd all be in there in conjunction, just by pressing a button and then telling how long I want them to come on. So we have wide,
Me interesan las informaciones divulgadas en este sitio. Se le considera como una biblioteca.
narrow. Now, if I could sync it, and sync's a little thing where you can find a station and find the upper part of the good reception, and that one red light lit right here, and try and find the lower part of the good reception. And they should both be lit at the same time, I think, but it doesn't seem to work the way it should. I'm going to show you the explanation in the instruction that I downloaded off the web. What is synchronous detection? And you can pause your screen and read that, but how this should improve your reception. And I've gotten it to work before sometimes, but it's very, very picky, and I don't have all that good luck with it. But it's definitely an option. So I'll take that sync off. On any of these we can, I like the weird voice on the upper sideband and on the lower sideband. And then we go back to normal.
On to do what?
Let's go to FM. Normal FM stations. Here's my presets.
Love the fact that you have the photos.
Helping your car well beyond the hunt.
For a highly trained, committed.
Here's my airport frequencies that I pre-programmed. I haven't gotten much good on the airport frequencies here. Now, if you come to a spot on your presets where you see 150, And that little sort of triangle there, that means there's no program there. It's available for a preset. So that's B4, 1, 2, 3, 4. B5 doesn't have anything. B6, B7, or B8. Here's my AM or medium wave presets.
Here's Dr. Leanne.
Second overtime at 114. They felt bad about it. It gave them a bad look. With the franchise, there is so much
New by Jesus Christ. He learns that his mind
I should be getting that station better. That's our local Mexican station. Usually it comes in much better than this. Okay, I got this at an estate sale, and although it's pretty easy to use in general, there's a lot here, and I read some stuff on the internet, and there's a lot of modifications that can be made to make this a lot better. Apparently there's a company in Minnesota that kind of specializes in selling those kits to do your upgrades, or you can send it to them. Some of the stuff I read on the internet makes me think that I wouldn't be capable of doing the internal upgrades myself. Not that skilled, and people talk about how it's kind of difficult to do some of that. So I'm probably going to contact that company. They're in Minnesota, and I think their name is Kiwa or Kiwi or something like that. And they have some good upgrades, and so I'm probably going to invest the money and make this a better receiver. It's got a lot of good reviews on the internet, and it's kind of vintage, I guess, but a lot of people like this, and I can afford, based on the cut rate price I got this at, to put some of that extra money I didn't spend into the improvements, and I'll be looking forward to that. And if I do this and get it back, maybe we'll take another look at this in the future with the upgrades. Let's see. Did I look around everywhere here? Maybe not. Let me put the antenna down here. Here's our AM RF gain. Usually keep that at max. And the tone control, high, low, or voice for the news. And our tuning dial has one of those little finger things in it to help you spin it. We looked at the back. I think we explained all of these as best I can. Oh, you can also scan your memories stations and stop that scan, and you can skip various things. And here you can put two frequencies in. Let's say you put a frequency in A1 and A2, then you can actually scan everything between those two frequencies. So if you have some sort of frequencies that you particularly like what comes in between them, you can always scan if you put those in A1 and A2. And like I said, the shift, you can define things. You've got long wave, medium wave, all your meters. So it is a pretty powerful unit, and I'll be looking forward to seeing if I can get it upgraded. It also has a sleep timer. You put this to timer and then press sleep, and you can go, I think it's 60 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes and things. and keep counting down. And that will clear it. So that's the Sony ICF-2010, 1980s, 1990s. Like I said, the instruction manual for this was dated 1984. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't, please subscribe.